Hey, Michael, it's right at 1 o'clock, and I see that people are joining back in, and I think we're ready to get started with the afternoon.
Okay, great. Let's go ahead and jump in.
All right, this is Wendy again. Welcome back, everyone, from your lunch. Hope you had a great lunch. So let's get our afternoon started with one of the most exciting destinations as we get ready for our initial launch of the new portal mobile solution, Benefits Cal. At this stop, the Benefits Cal team will give us an overview of the new portal, update us on plans for distributing communications and providing training, talk about how user feedback will influence Benefits Cal features and the customer experience, and give us an update on the path forward with Get Cal Fresh integration. I'm going to send over to Gabby Otis for our Benefits Cal update. Take it away, Gabby.
Thank you, Wendy. Hello to everyone. My name is Gabby Otis, and I am the project manager on the Deloitte side for the Benefits Cal engagement. We're thrilled to be here and share some updates today. As John mentioned, Benefits Cal is one of the most important parts of the CalSAWS journey as we look to re-envision and really transform how we deliver services to customers statewide. And when we think about what that means, it really comes down to the customer experience, what it's like as a customer to apply for benefits. And that's really been shaped for us through the user-centered design process. We could say a lot about UCD and the journey we've been on together to discover what customers need and how to respond to that. But we prepared a quick video. We think it's best to actually hear from folks who participated in the process. And so with that, let's play a video on the UCD journey for Benefits Cal.
In 2020, California came together to improve how social services are delivered to our communities. One of these improvements is Benefits Cal, a website where customers can easily apply for the services they need.
The new Benefits Cal system, which re-envisioned how customers engage with social services, is the single most important part of this journey.
You know, people have busy lives, and many people are struggling. We want their ability to receive benefits to be the easiest thing on their plate.
Several state partners, advocacy groups, and users, together with CalSAWS Consortium, collaborated to develop requirements and design the streamlined platform.
Collaborations and partnerships are at the center of a project like Benefits Cal because everyone has unique expertise. So we need to all be in right relationship and conversations with each other so that we can all do our best to create this tool.
Our vision for Benefits Cal is to reach more Californians than ever. We want to be able to deliver the services they need faster and meet people where they are and provide the support that they need.
To ensure Benefits Cal was truly by the people and for the people, the team followed the human-centered design process, which relies heavily on input from users and partners.
What user-centered design means to me is really putting the applicant, recipient at the center of all we do. It's what makes sense to the individual that's engaging with the Benefits Cal platform.
Beginning with comprehensive user research, the team spoke with thousands of customers to understand the human experience of applying for benefits.
It was really exciting to be part of the design, to get a sneak peek into the new system and to get a chance to influence it, to improve it for everyone.
But a successful launch won't mean we're done. Human-centered design requires recurring evaluation and adjustment for lasting impact.
One of the beautiful things about following the human-centered design process is that we'll never stop evolving the experience to meet the needs of every Californian who relies on these essential services.
This is not just something that's going to be to the benefit of our local community in our state of California, but this feels incredibly hopeful and affirming and energizing for the rest of the country. So I celebrate our California community and I share my excitement for this to be something that's going to go across the country.
Start your journey today.
Cool. Thanks, everyone. Thank you for everyone who participated in that video with us. It's such a passion project for all of us together, so we appreciate the ability to reflect on that. So as the video mentioned, for us, holistically, UCD is a journey. We will continue to ask and research questions. It does not stop with September. It does not stop with 1 or 2 focus groups. It continues all the way through the process. And I think that's really what differentiates this process from others and what gives us confidence that the solution will be used and accepted and adopted by millions of Californians out there. We're going to continue to improve. As we learn new, we update the system. So let's hop to the next slide to see what our UCD plans are for the rest of this year. What you don't see off to the left is everything we've done since August of last year. But right now we're on to our 5th round of usability testing. We're actively recruiting for that. We're also planning the tools and other items that need to be in place to measure the customer experience after go live. It's much more than interviews or quotes. We're actually looking to quantify data around the customer experience to share out with you all after September. Lots of activity. On the next slide, we'll take you through a few highlights of our 3rd round of usability testing. If we could flip to the next slide, that outlines what we found. So this is our 3rd round of usability testing. We've reported out to you in other JPA meetings the results of the first 2 rounds. In this 3rd round, very successful pass rates for the application, which is encouraging and affirming as we move into testing. We also made 17 different updates to the application as a result of testing. So it's not just gathering quotes for us or hearing about what's working or what's not. We're actively responding to that feedback and making changes in real time, mid-development cycle, to ensure that the user experience is everything we want it to be. So a couple of examples of those changes that we made during usability testing. Certainly one was on the very first page of the application. It's a heartfelt note from us about explaining the process to the customer, but many customers didn't know that they needed to scroll down on the page, particularly on a mobile phone, to proceed with the application. So we added a number of visual cues and reorganized the page to help there. Another example that was brought up in this round, we were able to get to testing a very complex part of the application around self-employment income, which particularly around income and expenses for self-employment can be challenging to understand. We actually received some feedback that the help text we included was too much and still confusing. So we went back, reworked it, retooled it, and retranslated it into the many threshold languages, and that's now there for folks to review. So we continue to change the application and evolve and respond directly to usability test feedback. I think through this process, we've learned words matter, communication matters, and I think that's how I'll transition to Rachel, who will next walk us through our communication strategy for Benefits Cal and how we plan to communicate out and prepare for go live. Rachel?
Perfect. Thanks, Gabby. As much as I will say that I would love to be, Kevin Costner in the movie Field of Dreams, we cannot just build Benefits Cal and expect that people will come. There actually is an effort required to draw people into using Benefits Cal, especially when there is the legacy of the existing portals that people may have been used to for an extended period of time, as well as people that are new to receiving benefits. And so we want to make sure that we're engaging with those individuals. So we are approaching communications around 4 core tenets. We are looking at making sure that our communications are based off of data. And you heard that from Gabby before about the importance of us collecting information from how we engage with individuals to understanding who we are communicating with and using the richness of the information that we're collecting from interviews and how people interact with Benefits Cal to drive that strategy around communications. Gabby had also given a couple of examples in Benefits Cal about language and how important that we use language that is very simple. We're learning quite a bit about the awareness that people have about program definition and that words that we may be used to every day around the programs that are offered may not necessarily be as commonplace with people that are seeking services. Communication is also really critical around timing. When we are actually sending communications to people to try to engage them at the right time, especially given that individuals may be reporting changes to their cases throughout, or they could have a renewal coming up, or they may have an interview. It's all about providing the communication at the time that is going to end up influencing somebody to take some sort of action within Benefits Cal, submitting a verification document, maybe checking the status of their benefits. And we also want to make sure that we're leading with value, which you can translate this into what value is actually being achieved by the person to whom we're communicating. What is in it for the individual is really where we need to go from a communications perspective. And there's a number of different ways that we're approaching this, from how we're going to be sending communications out, from methods to using campaign strategies to engaging with our stakeholder community as an extension of how we communicate and actually reach the individuals that are going to use Benefits Cal. So let's look a little bit more about what all is going to be involved coming up in the timeline of our communication strategy. If you could advance to the next slide. So this is an example of what the communication strategy is going to look like, or the journey rather, coming up for See for Yourself. And we have organized it by audience so that we can understand to whom these communications are going to be going out and what types of communications. And an example here, if you look at for the C4 counties, is leading up to go live, there will be a number of interactions that we're going to have to bring awareness about Benefits Cal so that people know what is available, when it's going to be available, how to access it. They're going to be also aware of information around what the transition period is going to look like, because there will be a cutover time frame between the existing system with See for Yourself and when we move to Benefits Cal. And then after go live, we'll have a series of announcements as well. So it's an ongoing exchange that we're going to be having with customers as well as with community-based organizations. So let's move on to the next slide. I wanted to give everyone a little bit of an overview. This was just released, and we'll give you a little bit of an overview. It was just released today, but wanted to give you a little bit of a preview of what we're going to have available on our sites and on our social media links that are out there relative to welcoming people to the new Benefits Cal solution. So let's play the video.
Welcome to Benefits Cal. The Californians can apply for food, medical, and cash assistance and more, all with one simple website that is accessible from any computer, tablet, or mobile device and available in 21 languages. Benefits Cal allows you to apply, check application status, upload documents, and review benefits. You can also check your case status, benefit amount, and T-balance. And if you have a change that impacts your application, such as a change of address or a new baby, it's easy to update your information on Benefits Cal. And finally, you can chat with a caseworker, sign up for text reminders, and share ideas to make the site even better. Benefits Cal is built by and for the people of California, and we're always working to improve your experience. Get started today.
Great. Okay, so let's move on. Just wanted to give you all a little bit of awareness of how you can actually access this new welcome video also. So today we are releasing our new site, which is www.benefitscal.com. It is live and accessible, and it will be the main page that people will be using to enter into their journey of Benefits Cal. There's also a couple of additional items that we have included on this site that's used to support our ongoing marketing and communications. So this is the jumping off point where customers will be able to understand how they navigate to apply for benefits today, up until the point that Benefits Cal goes live and thereafter. So this will be their main launching point. Our community partners also can access this site to be able to download now social media toolkits. And we'll give you a little bit of an overview on the next couple of slides about what that looks like. We are launching a social media campaign. So you'll start to see hashtags around Together We Benefit and @BenefitsCal, and people can keep up to date on what is happening leading up to the go live and thereafter. So bookmark the page, but it's something that we will be putting out information recurring up until the go live and after. So let's take a look at what some of these toolkits actually look like. If we go to the next slide, we have prepared a series of awareness toolkits in the threshold languages that are supported for the first release. And then next July, it'll be for the next set of languages. But these are going to be used to help individuals in the counties and our community-based organizations with getting more awareness out. And so there are a number of things that you'll be able to download, that you can post in your offices, that you can share in flyers. There's buttons, there's a number of things that we've prepared to help you with getting awareness and education out there around Benefits Cal. We also, if we can move to the next slide, have a social media toolkit. And the social media toolkit is up on the site right now. And what's contained in there are standard branding images. So you'll notice our bear that we have for our logo was something we voted on last fall together. And so our logos are included. There are photos, there are hashtags and handles, there are pre-authored media posts that you can use and post on your social media websites. So again, all of this is available at www.benefitscal.com. We encourage you to go out and take a look. Okay, we can move on to the next slide, and I'll toss it over to Gabby, and she'll lead us into a conversation about training.
Thank you, Rachel. Yep, now we're going to get tactical about go live and getting ready. So lots planned for training. Of course, we hope and intend for our application to be self-explanatory and intend for help to be within the screens and pages contextually where it's needed. But after a number of discovery sessions and workshops and interviews, we understood that particularly for county staff, caseworkers, call center folks, and community-based organizations, some written training guides could be really helpful, particularly as they help customers troubleshoot over the phone. So we are developing a number of quick guides to assist with screenshots paired with instructions and quick tips and FAQs, everything they could need to help customers through applying in the event they receive a phone call. We also heard from customers that reading through a quick guide is almost a non-starter, that they need to be shown, not told, what needs to happen within the application. So that's where you'll see about 10 micro videos planned that'll be posted to the YouTube channel as well to help customers through the application process, to really show them visually step by step how to complete different activities in the event they need some additional support. And that information will also be translated into our threshold languages within the video captions. A user guide for admins and some scenarios to try in the training environment. Let's go to the next slide. It's been a journey, and we are really excited to share what Benefits Cal looks like as of last week. So acknowledging that we're mid-development, we're mid-testing, we're mid-everything, we still are really excited to share with you a quick preview of what the application looks like. With that, let's roll this short video to share a preview.
Welcome to the new Benefits Cal, a one-stop shop for Californians to connect to food, health, cash, county, and disaster assistance programs. Benefits Cal is designed to help users to check their eligibility and to apply for and manage their benefits. On the homepage, people can view all of the programs and get a better sense of what they offer. There's contact information here down at the bottom if they need help. Now, let's apply for benefits. During our research, it became clear that customers needed more information about applying to benefits as a whole. So, up front, we give them an overview of our process and what is needed. We also do a sentiment check to see how the customer is feeling about the application process. We capture this data in order to improve customer experience over time. Then, we give them an application summary. This menu is really powerful because at one glance, they can see everything they've entered about the application and where they stand in the application flow. So, let's get started entering some information. The very first thing we do is ask for their language. We know how important it is to talk with customers in the language that speaks to them. Then, we ask for their name in a warm and welcoming way. Next, we help them select a program based on their needs. Right up front, we include inline help where we define what we mean by getting income. You'll notice that most of our screens ask only one question. That's intentional. It is to help the cognitive load of customers to answer these questions. It makes it simpler to understand and actually simpler to complete. Let's show you what it's like to enter details about customer income or expenses. We know from our user-centered design research, this is one of the areas customers struggle with the most. You'll also notice we ask every question at a person level in order to personalize the flow for each individual in the household. We're going to enter more information about John's job. In order to help them calculate their gross monthly income, we do some math, making it easy to see and understand. If they want to change anything in the application at any time, navigation on BenefitsCal is really easy. They can even save and exit to come back and finish it later. There are a lot of encouraging gate posts along the way. We know that applying for benefits is a journey, and we want to make it as simple and friendly as it can be. So they've entered all their info, attached any required documents, and they're ready to submit. We give a summary of the application here. Once they click submit and sign their name, boom, they're done. Customers can save a copy of their application, and starting in November, all customers will get an email with their next steps. Either they will be nudged to choose a time to be interviewed, or told to hang back until it's their turn to be scheduled. Now, once a customer has applied, they can come back to BenefitsCal for their dashboard. The dashboard is a place where they can see all the information about their benefits in California. At the top of the dashboard, if there is something that needs to be done, like schedule an interview or upload a document, we put it here in plain language. At certain parts of the application, we ask customers to upload their documents. We heard that it can be so confusing to sort through which documents and verifications are needed to apply. So, we did all the hard work for them. We've queued up everything they need to upload, and in one click they can attach a copy from either their desktop or simply snap a photo on their phone. All of this is done to make completing the application in BenefitsCal as seamless as possible. Customers can also check the status of their application, and this is really exciting because they can understand where they are in the process. Once the application is processed, they can now see their case. There are many other things to explore in the menu, which includes more resources that are available to customers in BenefitsCal. One of these being Report a Change. We know that customers' lives change often, and we want to make it easy for them to report it and continue receiving their benefits. Thanks for watching our BenefitsCal overview. Make sure to visit us at benefitscal.com. Together, we benefit.
Wonderful. Thank you, everyone, and thanks for your patience. We're mid everything, but we're really excited to share a preview. Just a few final kind of notes as we wrap up. One is particularly around governance, and we're very passionate about this topic and very honored and excited that we've been invited to participate in revisioning what the governance model could look like for BenefitsCal as we move forward. One of the most important pieces and a cornerstone of our project has been user-centered design. In fact, by now I'm sure you're tired of hearing us say the word so much, but we're so passionate about making sure that customers, CBOs, advocates, and other users of the application are at the table with us. And we think that they need to play a large role in how we prioritize, how we enhance the BenefitsCal application going forward. And so the request that's been made of our team is to really revision and look at what a governance model could look like that's inclusive, that includes customers and CBOs, as well as state partners and policymakers, so that we're at the table collaborating together and making decisions about the future of BenefitsCal and how we can help customers. And so as we hop to the next slide, we've outlined kind of a roadmap of how we think it might make sense at a milestone level to get there. And as you'll notice, right now we're in summer of 2021, and we're really focused on research. So we're spending a lot of time interviewing and talking to folks who have participated in processes in the past. We're also reaching out to other states who have revisioned their governance models to be inclusive of user-centered design practices. And we're looking at a number of tools and technologies to help us as we continue to live in a semi-distributed remote environment that can help us come together to set the vision for what Benefits Cal can be in the future. In the fall, that's where the rubber meets the road. We'll start to actually develop a governance framework with you all, start to test it and gather feedback, and start to build out the tools and templates and things we need. And then winter of 2021 is when we'd like to test this in a mini pilot with the folks who would participate in the process, and take their feedback into account before we roll out a final governance strategy. You may ask, hey, Gabby, winter is after the September 27th release of Benefits Cal. And that is true, and that is by design. Our intent, to make it clear, when we deploy in September is to be laser focused on resolving any defects or issues that are identified in production and to stabilize the application. So we'll look forward to prioritizing and working on enhancements with you just after we ensure that the Benefits Cal application is working well for everyone in See for Yourself counties, and then certainly everyone in LA County through the YBN conversion, so that we're all set and ready to go. That's it on governance, much more to come. We're really excited about that opportunity. I'll pass it to Rachel to talk about Get CalFresh integration and a few release dates and timelines as well.
Thanks, Gabby. And I'm going to round out our Benefits Cal update. We had heard loud and clear from a number of individuals about the importance of Get CalFresh today to the service delivery model for individuals that are seeking CalFresh. And we've been having ongoing conversations with the Get CalFresh team, with our state partners, talking about how we can make sure that there is not a disruption in services come September. And we have found a path forward, is what I am happy to announce, is we have a path forward working with the Get CalFresh team and the CalSAWS team that will allow them to continue to be able to submit applications through the new Benefits Cal solution when we go live in September. And so we have a planned release this September that would allow, it would be coinciding with our Benefits Cal release on the 27th, that Get CalFresh will be able to submit applications. And then in October, we are working on getting a release ready that would then allow the Get CalFresh team to be able to submit SAR 7s. And then the long-term plan is that Get CalFresh would have a direct integration with CalSAWS. So instead of integrating with Benefits Cal and having Benefits Cal serve a little bit as an intermediary, the long-term plan is to have that direct connection between CalSAWS and the Get CalFresh system. So let's turn it over to the next slide. And what does that mean? In order for us to be able to support the Get CalFresh implementation in September, we had 3 specific pieces of functionality that are going to be incrementally introduced into production. And they're going to be introduced based off of when they would be used in production as well. And so we are going to be having an introduction of 2 new releases that were originally not planned, but now that we are including them in October. In October, in the middle, we're going to be introducing a separate release for the Medicaid renewals and for the CalFresh recertification, which is the CF37. And then at the end of October is when we are going to be having the availability for the periodic reports for SAR 7s. So these will be 2 new releases into production. It's aligned to stagger with, again, like I said, when they're going to be used by actual users of Benefits Cal. But this is what the new schedules look like. And I'm really excited that we were able to come to a place where we will be able to support the Get CalFresh team and all of the organizations that use their solution to make sure that they can continue delivering services. So with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Michael.
Thank you. That was a great presentation. You kind of, the last part you went through on the integration with Get CalFresh, and you had the 1.1 and the 1.2. So are 1.1 and 1.2 existing in CalFresh now with the consortiums, and so when we go live in September, that won't be available for the C4 counties? Is that, I'm just trying to understand if there's a functionality loss anywhere.
Yeah, Michael, the functionality is included in the two existing systems. I'll say one little nuance that is a little bit different. The Medi-Cal renewals are actually going to be new functionality where the Medi-Cal renewals are going to be pre-populated. So that is something that's new that doesn't exist in any of the portals today. So that will be net new functionality. But the timing associated with the release dates for these two, or for the two new releases that we've added in October, is when we would be receiving the information from CalSAWS. So CalSAWS sends us something that says Michael has a recertification that's due. And once we receive that, then we make it available for somebody to enter in their recertification. So we're just aligning it with when we would be receiving the information from CalSAWS. So there shouldn't be any loss of functionality.
You see, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions or comments from the board members or state partners?
Michael, this is Delfino. I'm a little confused now on this issue, especially with this periphery partner. So it sounds like we've changed the direction from the previous direction that we had. So I need to understand a little bit more of what that was, or a better explanation. Maybe John can give me that. And I'm a little concerned that that somehow were new releases built in to accommodate this. And so if so, how was that financed?
Hey, Delfino, this is John. So the strategy based on comments that we received from the counties, our state partners and advocate partners, were to afford this integration at the time of release with Get Cal Fresh. So, and to do that prior to go live with the C4 counties. So yes, we were able to accommodate that expansion of scope. Working with our state partners, the funding request has gone in. The state funding partners have said they will be funding this. Our partners from Deloitte are continuing to work on this. The funding, all the I's have not been dotted or T's crossed, but that is in process. We are confident that that's going to be able to be done. The integration with Get Cal Fresh is during the transition period, and that's to allow that people to continue to use that through the transition period for C4, LA, and into the CalWin or MyBCW transition. And the state CDSS for Get Cal Fresh has a contract with Code for America that goes through 2023. At that time, we've engaged in a collaborative process with CDSS and Code for America to identify any differences between Get Cal Fresh and Benefits Cal, to be able to see if there's any additional enhancements in those things during that transition period. So at the end of CDSS's outreach contract with Code for America for Get Cal Fresh, that all of those features and functions that are currently in Get Cal Fresh can be accommodated in Benefits Cal, and then policymakers could make decisions on how to proceed, but that we have all the functionality in Benefits Cal. Did that answer your question, Delfino?
Well, it answered my questions. I'm not particularly comfortable with that resolution, but I guess I could discuss that with the other directors.
Okay, thank you.
I think San Bernardino County has a hand up.
Hi, Michael. Thanks. This is Gilbert Ramos. Just wanted to point out something that I thought I saw during the demonstration of Benefits Cal, where there's talking about uploading a document, and I could have sworn it said Social Security card. And I believe we've been cited in our management evaluations for asking for a Social Security card instead of number. So we just might want to be mindful of the language that we're using. Again, if words matter, we might want to be careful there.
Thank you. Yeah, we'll take that back and take a look.
Okay, I noticed a number of chat questions, but they seem to have been responded to. If not, we will definitely respond to them following the meeting. Are there any other questions, comments from board members or state partners? All right, any public comment?
There's one from Cindy in the chat.
Oh.
Yeah, in response to Cindy Utes in chat, is there a committee or work group put together to review the strategy for new releases? That is what Gabby and Rachel were speaking of. Really, we're trying to re-envision what the governance process will be and how those things are going to be prioritized and put together. We have all of our releases sort of planned and locked and loaded, and that's why we're going through that sort of design session. So those things are going to be coming to the JPA and PSC as we get into the fall timeframe and winter timeframe with some outlines and some frameworks of that governance process and work group for the strategy of the new releases.
Hi.
Hi there.
Is there space for public comment from the public, or are we still waiting for that?
Yes, is this Jen?
Yeah, hi.
Yes, recognized to speak.
Thank you. I'm with the CalSAWS Advocates Group. Thank you so much for this wonderful presentation. It's really exciting to see the website in more of a final form. I have a question about the governance process and the backlog list, the list of functionality that was identified in the user-centered design process that's in addition to the existing requirements. Will the governance process be used to determine how those backlog items will be prioritized, or are those different functionalities going to be handled in some other process?
Hey, Jen, this is John Belay. Yes, we plan on using the new governance process to be able to prioritize any future enhancements. So what we call them backlog feature enhancements, those things that are identified. That's what we want to be able to use that new governance process to be able to prioritize and make sure that everybody's clear on how those things get incorporated into Benefits Cal.
Thank you.
Any other public comment or comments or questions from board members or state partners? Okay.
I have one more, actually. I just wanted to make space if there was somebody else. My other question was, I heard the comment about how there's a goal that Benefits Cal will reflect the same level of functionality as Get Cal Fresh by the end of the Get Cal Fresh contract, so that that service can be sunsetted, or whatever the correct term is. I know that Get Cal Fresh usually does a really good job of working to continually improve their service over the course of time to make sure that they're meeting the needs of the consumers. Is the idea that Deloitte and CalSAWS will work really closely with Get Cal Fresh to identify the different functionalities that they're going to be adding in the coming years? I see you nodding your head, Rachel, so that's good. And just make sure that we're kind of like, I sort of imagine it as like a dovetail, so that as we get to that end of the timeline, there's this dovetail of the functionality that happens. Okay, I'll let you talk now, Rachel.
Yeah, and Jen, the intent is that we would be working in tandem with CDSS as the guidance is given to Get Cal Fresh, that we would be given the same evaluation at that same point of time, as and when things are coming up that are new, so that we can prioritize them collectively together. That is what we have talked about. Yeah.
That's great. I mean, to me, it seems like having Get Cal Fresh as a partner is a way to, allow them to vet new ideas and see what works, so that you guys don't have to, do that testing. And then by the time we get to that point at the end of the period, you can be adopting those things that we know work and that we know consumers need, as a way of partnering on that user-centered design process and having this other entity that can really maximize that user feedback piece. So I really appreciate hearing that there's that goal of partnership with CDSS and Code for America. Thank you.
Thank you, Jen. Okay, anybody else? All right, okay, then we can go ahead and move on to the next item. I believe it's C4 migration planning.
Yes, yes.
Michael, I wanted to go back. I apologize. I just hopped on the call a little while ago. I had one quick comment. Is that okay?
Sure.
Thank you. I really appreciate the time. So I know I saw Jen asked about the partnership with Get Cal Fresh and Coke for America in general. But I did want to just make sure, just get confirmation. I've asked a number of times, but I know it's just important to keep elevating these different topics. So for Get Cal Fresh, for CBOs and people doing assisting, they are able to use what's called a referral URL link. This link can be sent out to the clients they serve. And if the clients use that link to do an application on their own, the CBO is able to see that, get credit for that application, and most importantly, follow up with that client to ensure that they submit the right verifications, et cetera. And so I just wanted to confirm that that was also part of that plan to incorporate that feature, which is currently available on Get Cal Fresh.
Aaron, it's on the list that we sent out last week with the future enhancements, that requests that had come in. So it's on the list for prioritization.
Fantastic. I just want to confirm that. Thank you so much.
Okay, great. All right, then we'll go ahead and move on to, thank you very much, Rachel. Thank you, Gabby, for your presentation and for the public comment and dialogue. So we'll move on to the C4 migration.
Okay, thank you, everyone. So we are, as we're passing through the Central Valley of California, we are to our largest leg of our journey today. This section includes a wealth of information. We will share change management updates, the C4 training update, a web-based training demo, the T-3 implementation status and plans, the plans for Greenlight and the cutover weekend. We'll talk about how we'll collaborate for communication for go live, post-deployment support, etc. So this is a very large topic, and so I hope you have your travel snacks and something to munch on after lunch to keep you going. And we'll go ahead and jump into this, and I'll turn it over to Helen.
Thank you, June. Thank you all for having me this afternoon. The change management team will like to just go ahead and start off with a short video. Then I have one slide, and then I'll be turning it over to folks in training. So go ahead and cue video, please.
Welcome to our C4 Migration Change Management Update. Please join us on our C4 Migration Communications journey. Today's itinerary will include change impact analysis, communications, surveys, and change network. We began with the change impact analysis. And we looked into the changes that affect C4 users. Over 700 impacts were identified and 87% have been addressed. Counties learned about these impacts with the Summary of High Impact Changes document. The change impact analysis guides C4 user communications. And here are our communications by the numbers for targeted topics, infographics, change network meetings, news blasts, and just-in-time demos and videos. 6,000 county staff traveled through targeted topics and just-in-time demos. You don't have to take my word for it though. Take a look at some of the targeted topic participant numbers we had. And if you thought that was impressive, wait until you see how many people joined us for our other targeted topic sessions. 775 participants joined us to learn about Change Reason. We've also received some great feedback. Looking forward to the migration. Thanks for all the great work that everyone is contributing. In order for the system to impose penalties or sanctions, the data collection pages must be entered correctly. Love it! I love that we can make tasks directly from a scanned document routing, and that we can access those images from the task list. Our infographics carried our CalSAWS communications far and wide. Which one was your favorite? Our news blasts help keep everyone up to date with the latest information. We can't take all the credit though. We survey C4 users to see if we're heading in the right direction. Take a look at our C4 user survey highlights. We couldn't have done it without you. Counties are getting really excited about CalSAWS, and here's what they have to say. Workers are excited of the upcoming changes in some of the learned functionality of CalSAWS. I am really excited about the change. I've used the sandbox and it is so much like C4. We are really excited knowing all 58 counties will be on the same system. We truly believe that this will benefit our customers and communities. That's not all though. We had 388 C4 Change Network champions travel with us on our journey. Change Network champions share their county adventures, and we share the latest CalSAWS info. And now we'll share what's next on the change management itinerary.
So thank you for running that video. So we wanted to outline what we've been doing over the last year and our communications and how we've had engagement with the counties throughout the last year. And so this slide here outlines our direction through Go Live. We are going to absolutely continue with our engagement by continuing to do our demos through the months of July and August. And then we are also going to continue with our surveys. We are really excited that our most recent survey results that we've received over the last week, because we are at the T-3, we have an overwhelming amount of county staff that are committed to making CalSAWS a success. So we're super excited about that, and we will continue our engagement and communications. And most of all, I just want to take this opportunity to thank all of you for allowing your county staff to go on this journey with us. We couldn't do it without them. And we're really pleased with their level of engagement, their level of dedication to making sure that this is a success. So we will continue our communications and continue this journey with you through Go Live and beyond. Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Shavani.
Thank you, Helen. Good afternoon. We are at a really exciting time for C4 migration training. We're at the cusp of training delivery. As you can see on the slide, we have a lot of events, a lot of activities beginning this summer. The first of those being early training, which begins in less than 2 weeks, which will provide the C4 counties advanced access to the learning management system where all of our C4 migration training materials are hosted. In the month of July, we will also be hosting training environment roadshows. So I will get into those details in the next slide. We have our imaging train the SME sessions. So these are 10 one-day sessions for the C4 counties to train the C4 counties on the imaging solution. We will also, in the month of August, be providing the counties an additional load of users into the LMS for advanced access, which Ashley Arnold will get to in a second. And then August 30th, that's where we open up general training to the C4 county users. This is where all C4 county users will have access to the learning management system and take all their training within that 4-week period. We will also be distributing LMS reports, which will include the progression of the counties and their training. Next slide. So as I just mentioned earlier, we are really excited to launch our roadshows on the training environment solution. And this will occur in July. Some of the topics that we plan to include will be those various features of the training staging environment and the training production environment. So these are 2 environments that the counties will be receiving access to. During the roadshows, we'll go into depth about the user accounts and how the counties will access these environments. We will also be going over the release and refresh schedules. And we're really excited to showcase that the major focus of these roadshows, which is the case copy functionality. So we do have some very detailed demos on this functionality that we believe the counties will be really excited about. This will assist their training programs, their continued training programs on CalSAWS. And then we will also be going over a very detailed training environment guide, which includes steps and details on this functionality and various information on the training environment solution. So we are hosting these roadshows in July. We are hosting these by region. And I'm going to turn it over to Ashley Arnold to go over the remaining training slides.
Thank you, Shivani. So here real quickly, I'll go through some of the recent communications. There have been so many things going out for training. It's a really exciting time. As Helen said, thank you so much for allowing us to reach out to your staff for their assistance. We were really excited to be able to offer the county training coordinator role. They're going to go through training in early July so that they are able to customize enrollment for their counties. We sent that out in April. Along with that, we had the custom curriculum enrollment form, and this was really our first pass at a recommendation by classification on the training curriculum you may want to have your county staff take. And you were super helpful in verifying our recommendations or making changes so that when your county training coordinators get a hold of this, once we load the users, they can really make minor adjustments here and there at the individual level. We sent out our request for early training and It's Me participants. We got all those back in perfect time. We were able to fill every single space. We were really excited. We also sent out a draft of the CalSAWS migration training guide, which is your course catalog for all the materials that we're offering for migration. And the final version of that will be hosted in the LMS at the start of early training. As Shivani just spoke about, we communicated the training environment roadshows that are coming up in July and also the request for the additional LMS access participants. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in a coming slide. Go ahead, please. Most recently, we did send out the request for the CalSAWS training staging environment access. And like Shivani talked a little bit about, this is where your county trainers will go in and be able to build golden cases or copy those, messy real life cases over from production post go live so that they can be replicated to use in the training production environment. We're really excited about that. Go ahead. We are also working on some
Ashley, we may have lost you.
Yeah, could somebody jump in, June?
Yep. So this is June. I can jump in and review the rest of the CITs. We're certainly sending out information to the counties in order to get their users that we need to load into the learning management system and be ready for those go lives, and we can move forward. And I'm not sure where Ashley was supposed to start. So if someone else jumps in, let me know if I'm taking over someone else's slides. Upcoming training activities. Shivani, I see you. Do you want to take over?
Yeah, absolutely. So as I mentioned on the slide with the training timeline, we do have a lot of activities coming up. Early training will be a unique time period in which the C4 counties will have advanced access to the LMS. In addition to accessing training materials, the C4 counties will also be able to attend sessions. So these are kind of like office hours where they can ask questions, and we'll have our trainers provide answers to those questions. Some of these topics will also include system demos. So we do have those sessions, and I believe we have a detailed slide on that coming up. August 11th through the 26th, we have the Imaging Train the SME sessions. So as I had mentioned, these are 10 one-day sessions, and this will really provide users in-depth functionality on the imaging solution. The additional LMS option. This is something that we heard from the C4 counties, that they wanted more of their staff to have advanced access to the LMS. So we did fit this in over the summer, and we will be providing advanced access in the month of August. And then general training, as I had mentioned, this is really the major training event this summer, where all active C4 users will be provided LMS access to begin and complete their training. And it looks like Ashley's back on, so I could hand it over to her.
Never a dull moment. So sorry about that. I was able to hear that you lost me, so I just had to rejoin. Thank you, Shivani and June, for covering. So just a quick overview of early training. We're so excited to kick early training off in less than 2 weeks. We have 4 sessions coming up. They will run one after another, 80 participants per session. We will have virtual office hours sessions that were taking place by topic. And the first session starts right after our July 5th holiday. Our participants will view system demonstrations. They'll have time for Q&A. Where possible, we're going to get them access to the sandbox so that they can practice in a live environment. So for all 4 sessions, we are excited to host 320 participants total. Go ahead, please. The additional LMS access option was something that, of course, we really wanted to make things work for our C4 counties and make sure that their needs were met. So as Shivani touched on a little bit earlier, this is an additional activity. It will run in the early training time period, but it is separate and apart from those early training sessions. And what this is we will be adding over 1,000 additional users into the LMS in 2 waves, so that those staff can go in and take the self-paced training so that they can prepare themselves ahead of the general training period, so they can support staff as well. They will have a different avenue of support from the training team, and I'll talk a little bit about that. And what we really wanted to do was just make sure that as many people we could accommodate would have access to that material ahead of time, so that they felt comfortable in their county when general training started. Go ahead. So this will happen in 2 ways. Like I said, we will be granting LMS access to specific staff. We have already sent out that communication and are getting back those participant lists. And these staff will take their C4 migration training ahead of the general training period. It's separate and apart. They will not be enrolled in the early training office hours sessions. They will have a different avenue of support. So those activities will be happening at the same time in August. Go ahead, please. The same types of staff that you are sending to early training would be the ones you would want to have get this additional LMS access as well. These are going to be your county trainers, additional supervisors or super users, perhaps your IPOCs or maybe your policy staff. Maybe you want to send your Change Network champions, and anybody that really will be acting as a support for your general users when they start early training. We did send out that communication, and it's currently coming in. We're very excited to get those users into the next LMS load for August. Go ahead, please. Here you can see a breakdown of how we allocated spaces by county, and a little bit different than what we usually do. This time we just went straight off the top 5% of each county's active users to give a grand total of 1,048 additional participants. So we really base this on county size. You can see some counties got a few extra spaces, some counties got, over 200. So we were really excited to be able to make this work for the counties. Is Alameda missing? Oh no, from our table? I'll go ahead and check that. We must have had something come up. Thank you. They did get their spaces though. Go ahead, please.
Hey, Ashley.
Yep.
Alameda's a Calhoun County.
Oh goodness, you have me all off guard, John. The whole logging out, logging back in, I'm all freaked out now. So that's why they're missing. That makes more sense, for sure. The time frame, this, like I said before, this will take place at the same time as early training sessions 3 and 4. So we'll do 2 loads of users. One will start August 2nd and the other will start August 16th. And those really do coincide with those separate early training sessions. And this will allow us kind of a gradual approach to support any questions that come in with these 2 loads. Excuse me. Go ahead. Next, we're going to show you a demo of a WBT, as June spoke of, but we're really showing it all the way from the beginning of logging into the LMS. So you'll be able to see what that looks like, how to navigate around, as well as what a bit of a WBT looks like. So if we could get that playing, we're really excited to show it to you.
In this demonstration, we will provide an overview of the CalSAWS Learning Management System. Once you enter the LMS URL, if it's your first time logging in through ForgeRock, you will need to enter the credentials, accept the terms and conditions. You will have to validate your email, and once you have entered your email, you will receive an email verification. This will provide you a one-time password to validate your email. Once you have done this, you will be able to access the LMS. So let's begin with the navigation bar. The home hyperlink navigates you to the LMS homepage. The current training hyperlink navigates you to a list of all current curriculum and courses that you're enrolled in. The transcript hyperlink navigates you to a list of all training materials that you have started or completed. And the navigation bar also provides you with a catalog hyperlink, a search box, the help button, and your account profile section. Moving down, the LMS homepage provides an overview of the training experience and includes information such as the recent announcements, frequently asked questions or FAQs, current training, completed training, the search catalog field, and the browse categories section. The recent announcement section contains relevant information or important communications. So the FAQ section contains a list of general questions you may have when you're working in the LMS. Clicking a question displays a pop-up with a question and the respective answer. The current training section will show you the 5 most current training courses or curriculums that you're assigned to. You can self-register to any training you desire in addition to your assigned migration curriculums. Please refer to the migration training guide that will reside in the LMS for a list of the different curriculums available for migration. Moving along, the completed training section displays the 5 most recent completed training courses that were assigned to the user. Finally, on the right-hand side, we will see the search catalog field, which allows you to search keywords, phrases, or module names to find learning items within the catalog. Below the search catalog, we see the browse categories section, which displays a list of training categories. Now that we have seen the LMS homepage and its navigation, let's look at an assigned migration curriculum. You can click the View button next to a curriculum assignment in the current training section. The EDBC curriculum displays. Notice that there are 2 different sections for training materials, the required training and the optional resources. Required training materials consist of web-based training modules, also known as WBTs. Optional resources can include quick guides or reference guides. Clicking the View Content button launches the next available course. You can also click the Start button for each training material. Let's launch the multi-month EDBC WBT to show you an example of what it will look like when you start a module.
Lesson 1. What is multi-month EDBC? In this lesson, we will discuss what is multi-month EDBC and what case actions will lead to running EDBC for multiple months. In CalSAWS, you can run EDBC for up to 6 months at one time. This is known as a multi-month EDBC. On the Run EDBC page, the system will suggest a begin month and an end month. You can update the suggested begin month and end month as appropriate. For an application, the suggested begin month and end month is based on the application date and the current date. Let's take a moment to check your progress. True or false? You cannot change the begin month and end month on the Run EDBC page. A. True or B. False.
Now let's take a look at the optional resources that accompany this WBT. As you can see, there are multiple quick guides shown in the optional resources section. However, for this particular demonstration, we will only be viewing one quick guide. A CalSAWS quick guide is a document which may include functional instructions as well as screenshots from the C4 and/or CalSAWS system. It may highlight new functional processes, pages, page sections, fields, drop list values, etc. This concludes the CalSAWS Learning Management System demonstration. Thank you.
And now I believe I will turn it over to Ted.
Thank you, Ashley. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ted Anderson. I'm the Accenture delivery lead for the C4 migration to CalSAWS. I'll be walking the membership through our readiness journey to prepare for green light of the C4 counties to integrate into CalSAWS. Our goal throughout this process has been to emphasize transparency with our stakeholders on all of the different activities that the project, the counties, and other stakeholders are participating in to lead us to a successful migration effort. On this first slide, we've pared this down to show you really our journey over the next 3 months. Here at the general membership meeting, we are sharing with you a lot of highlights around the activities that have happened up to this point, and really what we're doing over the next 3 months as we're preparing for that final push to move all of our C4 users into CalSAWS. Let's go to the next slide. So over the next few slides, I'm going to do a deeper dive into that original timeline to share with you the engagement strategy that we've had. Let's go to the next slide. On the county side, about a year ago, we established implementation points of contact, technical points of contact, as well as our change network champions. All three of those groups made up of county staff have been instrumental in giving us the opportunity to share with the counties relevant information, as well as hearing from them from a county perspective on how effective the information has been delivered, as well as any challenges that they're having along the way. So our goal was, we know there's a lot of information to share with the counties, so we wanted to really kind of slice and dice that into smaller, manageable chunks of information so we could really give the counties an opportunity to digest that all along the way. We're continuing these county checkpoints, as well as our quarterly regional touch point, which is actually being hosted in August. We're continuing these all the way up until the end of September, and we're actually increasing the frequency. So that final month of our readiness activities, we'll be meeting with our implementation points of contact on a weekly basis to ensure that they're getting all of the information that we have prepared for them, as well as getting all of their questions answered. Let's go to the next slide. On the project readiness side, again, continuing to share across the different project teams, the readiness outcomes. There's a lot of coordination that's happening across Benefits Cal, our central print vendor, all of the different teams that are involved from application development and technical, and what the implementation change and training team is really consolidating all of this information into how we plan to communicate and educate the counties on the changes that are happening as it relates for C4 users to using CalSAWS. So these internal project team meetings, as well as our monthly meetings that we're having with CMS and FNS, have been instrumental to share ideas and thoughts around the impacts, and obviously as outcomes from the different project phases have occurred from our converted data test, as well as our user acceptance test. We're taking in all of that information to see how that may influence the communications that we're sending out to the counties. Let's go to the next slide. For PSC and JPA, we've been very strategic about the information that we're sharing. We want to make sure that we are sharing you relevant, timely information as it pertains to those monthly meetings that we're having. We began a few months ago sharing the readiness outcomes of what we've been working on. And later in our slide deck here, Young will be sharing with you current state of many of our readiness activities that we're still tracking to. And then we're also planning on leveraging the JPA and PSC meetings to give a lot of this information out to our public stakeholders, to our advocate groups and other Californians that may be attending this meeting interested in hearing about what we have going on from a readiness perspective. Let's go to the next slide. This is a new engagement point. Many of your regional managers have been working with each individual county director up to this point. But what we're really encouraging the regional managers to start doing as a confirmed event for each of the counties, and this can be supported either regionally or individually with the counties, is to really have that touch point directly on reviewing the readiness activities, not only reviewing what's happening on the project side, but also really delving deep into the county activities that are occurring to ensure that all of our county directors are aware of the outcomes of what's occurring, as well as getting you an opportunity to provide any input or questions or concerns that you might have as we get into these final months before we go live. So on this deck, I won't drain the proposed dates, but we are suggesting some timeframes based on when other project-related activities are happening. Let's go to the next slide. And then with our state stakeholders, we do have a monthly IT meeting. We've been sharing readiness outcomes, and we'll continue to share readiness outcomes throughout this process and have more elaborate plans for our July, August meetings and September meetings to share even more of the readiness details that we have prepared. Let's go to the next slide. So this really gets us into our pre-green light activities as well as our green light. So modeling this very similar of what we've been doing for our CalSAWS bi-monthly releases, we really want to have a pre-green light that's a week prior to our formal green light discussion. We're going to have 2 different green light phases for our C4 migration to CalSAWS. The first is in the August timeframe, and that's going to be aligned to the county prep phase, which is at the end of August, to where we're converting all of the staff information, the security information, all of the office information, and really giving the counties an opportunity from the end of August to the end of September to make some of those tunings that they need to do within the CalSAWS configurations to ensure that the data that's set up for each of the individual offices is set up appropriately, including the security for the individual users. So when they log in day one at the end of September for all of the end users, that they're able to use all of the expected functionality. We're also leveraging this time to confirm each individual active user can actually log into CalSAWS. One of the biggest constraints that we found with a large go live over a weekend is that many individuals have login issues that first day when they need to use the system for their critical tasks. We want to give the counties that opportunity during that month to really kind of get reduce the risk by ensuring that all of their staff can log in to the CalSAWS system during that first month. So when they actually have to use the system at the end of September, they're ready and available to use that system for their critical daily jobs. Now let's go into the next slide where we'll talk about the formal green light. So this is where all of the different key stakeholders, and we have the participants listed out here, our PSC board members, our county PSC members, as well as our state partners and CalSAWS staff will be actively participating in these green light discussions. In these discussions, we'll be discussing with you the readiness outcomes and the project, as well as the counties meeting the necessary exit criteria that's really required for us to ensure that we're ready to migrate those C4 counties into CalSAWS. So the intention of these green line meetings is to really have full disclosure on the readiness details, the activities, and if there's anything left outstanding that we need to focus on, any mitigation steps that we're taking to resolve and address any potential risks or issues that are occurring as we approach those final days prior to green light. So that was the information I wanted to share with you. I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Young to cover some of our readiness activities.
Thanks, Ted. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Yong Bang Ble Yang, and I'm the implementation manager for the consortium. And I'm very excited to share all of the readiness updates today with all of you, because we are T-3 months from C4 Go Live. Exciting times. So first and foremost, the implementation readiness dashboard, this very first slide. This information has data reflected as of June 4th, and the CIT, which was CIT 150-21, which contained the dashboard and packet, was released this past Tuesday. So if you have not seen it and you'd like to review it, please contact your primary or your implementation points of contact and or your regional managers, and they can get a copy to you. I'll be going over the June updates on the dashboard and what has changed since the last month. So you'll notice that we added an additional passenger onto our C4 implementation journey, which is the Central Print team and project. And this first page contains all of the overall readiness summary for all three, CalSAWS, Benefits Cal, and Central Print. And it's organized by the overall areas and those categories within those areas. You'll notice that many items are green, showing that it's on schedule. But just to point out that as the project teams continue to work on their different work streams, there may be changes to these statuses where you might see in the future with future packets and dashboards that the on schedules status changes did to behind schedule, and which will accurately reflect all of the project work streams. And behind schedule, you'll notice are either less than 14 days late, which is yellow, or greater than or equal to the 14 days, which will be depicted in red. So again, future packets and dashboards, you may see changes in these, but they are accurately reflecting all of the project work streams that we have in flight. All right, next page, please. Oh, I'm sorry, can you back up? I'm sorry, I misspoke. Okay, so for CalSAWS, what has progressed in some of the key areas? In the application area, the category of development for CalSAWS is now complete. Last month it was on schedule. For conversion, same thing. Last month it was in schedule, and now the converted data test has been completed. For Benefits Cal, in the category of conversion readiness, it wasn't started last month, and now it is on schedule. In the training area, the training plan is now complete, whereas last month it was on schedule. For Central Print is on schedule with fulfillment platform software, print centers, and supplies, and their work on integration, training, and implementation efforts has not yet started. Next slide, please. All right, so these are some of the key project milestones for June. You'll notice, I'll just quickly go over some of these, that the changes from last month is that the CalSAWS and Benefits UAT county preparation is now 100% complete. Last month it was at 74% complete. And batch performance testing had not started last month, but now is at a 49% completion status. Mock conversions progressed to 74% complete, whereas last month it was 15%. Training of the installation of LMS, load courses, test reports progressed to 65%, up from 54% from last month. And implementation readiness preparation is up from 66% to now 74%. On the right-hand side, the project team is tracking project risks and issues that pertain to migration. So before I do a little bit deeper dive into what these are, I'd like to give a little bit more information on what risks and issues are. So risks are uncertain, probable events that may have a negative effect on CalSAWS goals and objectives, whereas issues can be realized risks or situations that arise out of the performance of the CalSAWS project, which cannot be effectively resolved by the identifier. So both of these items, risks and issues, are captured in and documented in the overall project risk and issue logs. So at this time, there are no issues identified which will impact the C4 migration. We do have documented risks that may impact migration, And these risks are expected to be mitigated prior to the C4 counties go live. And the teams, the various project teams, are actively monitoring these risks, and they're also performing actions to resolve the risks. So since May, we have added one additional risk, which is risk number 248. It is the last item in red on this page. At a very high level, this risk has to do with documents scanned prior to February 28th of this year, may be at risk of not finishing prior to go live. And the project is reinitiating the transfer of images, the reducing load sizes and maximizing output thresholds, as well as retuning the export scripts with experts at AWS and Highland. So UAT efforts are not impacted by this risk. And I believe with the imaging team's presentation later on in the session that they will be going over this this risk in more detail. Just a quick note, there are no late project milestones or tasks at this time. Next slide, please. So here we're going to be looking at doing a little bit more detail about county readiness. So again, you'll notice that all of the county readiness areas are in on schedule status, all in green for all 39 counties. So I do want to point out that if one or more counties are behind or get behind in any of these areas, such as application, technical, conversion, that the status column will change colors accordingly to reflect the appropriate statuses. So again, there are no county level issues and risks at this time. I do want to just say thank you and great job to all of your implementation points of contact and their work with the implementation team to ensure that all county tasks and milestones are completed timely. Again, thank you. Next slide, please. Now we'll be doing the next couple of slides. I'll be diving a little bit more into details of each of the categories and the areas and the progression of some of those key milestones. So for application readiness in the development category, we are up to 77% complete, up from 72 from last month. In application readiness and the system test target pass rate for the 21.07 release, it is at 23%, which exceeds the target of 13%. Conversion readiness has progressed 5% up to right now 80% completion. Converted data tests, talk a little bit about this, but it has been completed since the June dashboard was released. For technical readiness, the infrastructure is now at 80% complete from last month's 75% complete, and extranet enablement is holding steady at 96% complete. Next slide. For, again, CalSAW's readiness in the areas of training, they have completed now 71 quick or reference guides and 8 WBTs are completed. For implementation, we are seeing that the average number of logins into the sandbox environment has steadily increased over each week. So great job to you and your staff going into the sandbox environment. Change readiness, steady progress is being made in terms of communication metrics, and they're on schedule to complete all of their planned activities. Next slide. For Benefits Cal readiness, Benefits Cal in the area of application readiness and the development category, it was previously 32%, now it's at 59%. Target pass rate for system tests was for 60% and actually had a pass rate of 68%. Security testing is now 30% completed from 10% from last month. So great job to all the Benefits Cal team. Next slide, please. Again, more on Benefits Cal. A training plan has also been completed since the May packet and dashboard has been released. And then to our last but not least, to our central print readiness area. Again, central print is on schedule for fulfillment platform software readiness, and they are on schedule for requirements and specifications, and they have not yet started with their configuration efforts. For integration readiness, design has been completed with development, and the design has been completed, and then development test and the connectivity testing efforts will soon start in the next couple of months. and Central Print is on schedule for their existing print centers, equipment installation, and establishing a new printer center. Next slide. Again, with Central Print, in terms of supplies readiness, they are on schedule for the requirements and the inventory piece of that. And training and implementation readiness will start in the next couple of months. So that completes my presentation of the June implementation readiness and all of the updates from that has progressed since May. And now I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Keith, who will be reviewing Cutover Weekend.
Young, we're going to go ahead and skip this slide just for respected time. We have this covered in the conversion slide. So let's go ahead and move on to the next topic. And I believe that's June.
Hello, thank you, everyone. So in this section of this segment, we are talking a little bit about the communication that we'll be doing after post-migration. So let's go ahead and go to the next slide. So just a quick note, and I think Ted talked about it as well, we'll continue to update during public meetings and in our quarterly stakeholder meetings. What's new is that we have monthly Benefits Cal meetings that will continue to keep our stakeholder groups informed. And then we'll also have a new daily post-go live call with the stakeholders that is very similar to what we do with the 40 counties today after every release. One new thing is how we're going to use Ask Cal SAS, and that'll be in another slide, so I'll skip there for now. So let's go to the next slide. So Ask Cal SAS, we already have that today. It is on our calsas.org website, and we received questions today, from various people from the public. So we are going to use that as our single connection point for technology-related issues that maybe our advocates or CBOs are seeing out in the public after go live. We expect, and as we continue to do today, to provide timely responses to those questions. And in the event that there is something major that we're seeing that would affect the public, we will put out communications through various means to make sure that everyone is aware of anything that's happening that impacts the public use of either CalSAWS or Benefits Cal. Next slide. Once we get these questions, we're going to do a little bit of a triage to figure out if there are questions that maybe should be sent to the counties. If there is a question about a specific county operation or an experience someone had in a specific county, we will forward those on. If there's a question that clearly relates to a policy decision or a policy question, we'll send that off to our state partners. And then otherwise, for those technology issues, we will review those, and then we will again meet with the stakeholders daily for 2 weeks after go live. And we will also complete a report that we're calling the Consumer Impact Summary. So anything that we receive through those daily calls or through Ask Cal SAS will be documented on that Consumer Impact Report for those first 2 weeks after go live, so that we can be transparent in what we're seeing, what the counties are seeing, and what impact it may have to the public. Next slide. This is what I was talking about, the daily go live calls. Some of you are aware that we have daily calls after every release for the 40 counties today. And those calls last for about 30 minutes. So we are replicating that for our stakeholders and advocates. So we will have these daily calls for 30 minutes at 3 o'clock for those first 2 weeks after go live, and then we'll make an assessment after that. The purpose of these are to have that forum for people to share information. We can follow up on any Ask Cal SAS issues. We can also report out anything we're already seeing, and that's a known issue. Next slide. We have post-deployment support. There is a video attached to this, but we are going to pass on these slides. We will touch on this in another public meeting, and the video will be posted. So at this time, Michael, I'm going to turn it back over to you. So Anthony, pause. Thank you very much. And we're back to member or public comment.
Yeah, that was a lot of topics to cover in one item. Okay, I have a question that's tangential related to it, and that's the CIT that went out on the training staging environment. I know that went out recently asking for users that might be needed for that, and they might vary between different counties. But like in LA County, we have like a training academy, and I wanted to make sure that the project's not just loading those users, that they'll actually confirm with our RMs or our county what our users will be, rather than, because it went out pretty broadly.
Ashley or June, who's going to cover that?
Hi, Michael. Can you clarify? I'm sorry. Did LA already submit their names?
I believe they went directly to the, like all the SPOCs and all the individuals. So then I think they'd be submitting them back directly. They're not coming kind of centrally through. So just so.
We'll take that back and take a look at it and communicate with your RMs and make sure we've got the right people.
Thank you. Okay, there was a lot of different topic areas. So any comments or questions from any of the board members, state partners on any of these items? 7 different topics in here. Okay. How about okay, I guess then we get to move on. Thank you to the presenters. We have CalSAW's procurement update coming up next. No, we have CalSAW's implementation support services update.
That's right. Yeah. So yeah, our next destination is the CalWIN implementation readiness. Preparing the CalWIN counties to migrate to CalSAWs, it requires a skillful blending of business process reengineering or BPR, organizational change management or OCM, training and implementation activities. At this stop on our journey, the implementation support team will provide an update on the CalWIN BPR, OCM, and training activities and share a video of feedback from San Diego. So Duncan Gilliam, Jarek Wong, and Renee Carter will give us a CalWIN update today. I think, Duncan, you're up first.
Thank you very much, Wendy. Hi, everyone. I'm Duncan Gilliam, the BPR manager for the CalWIN ISS team. Very excited to report out on progress of business process re-engineering for the 18 CalWIN counties. Overall, we are on track for our BPR effort and things are progressing well. Since January, we've engaged with CalWIN counties to document their business processes at a global level. And since February, we've been meeting with counties individually to document their processes at a detailed county-specific level. Wanted to share some key facts reflective of our overall progress. To date, working with CalWIN county staff, we've documented over 140 global as-is business processes and over 600 county-specific as-is business processes to provide a comprehensive set of process documentation reflective of their current state, meaning how they do business today in CalWIN. As we've completed the current state definition and county sessions for all 18, at this point, we've completed the sessions themselves, meaning the actual meetings, interactive meetings we've had with counties for all 18 CalWIN counties. And that's breaking news as of today, so a little bit more current than what you see on the slide. We've received timely approvals on all submitted work products to date, indicating that our sessions have achieved their intended purpose and provided counties with a complete set of documentation for the way they currently conduct business. If we move on to the to-be phase, or defining the future state and how business processes will be implemented following CalSAW's go live, after roughly 3 months of pre-work and preparation, we began our county-specific to-be BPR sessions on this Monday, June 21st. Early reports are that our Wave 1 teams are making good progress and are slightly ahead of schedule. We have worked closely with the CalSAW's project team, regional managers, and county staff to position for success of this effort. And it's really foundational to an overall successful implementation for our 18 CalWIN counties. As expected, there are many questions about how CalSAWs will differ from what counties are used to with CalWIN and the potential business process implications of those differences. Many of these differences were called out in advance through our pre-work efforts, and we are actively working to answer any open questions that we are getting in these sessions and do that timely to facilitate well-informed business process decisions. We're also looking to pass relevant information gained from our 2B sessions to the organizational change management and training teams to prepare for, for their respective work threads and areas of high complexity or impact that can be addressed with future OCM and training activities. At this point, I'd like to share a video prepared by San Diego County reflecting on their experience working with the Calwin ISS BPR team.
We're supremely thankful to the CalSauce Implementation Support Services team. They were on site to help us map our assets process, and I have to say that the team was very impressed and pleased with their facilitation skills and their technical expertise. Our many thanks.
I thought it was great that the team explained to us from the beginning that we were in the as-is stage and what we could expect before we started actually reviewing our process maps. I was especially thankful for their patience and guidance as we deliberated on some of our more complicated processes.
We had a lot of great feedback from our experience working with the CalSauce implementation team. We look forward to our partnership in the future. Thank you.
Right, thank you. Go to the next slide. So just to summarize some of the feedback, additional feedback we received from other counties, as shared by our fantastic partners in San Diego County, the BPR team has worked to maximize collaboration with county leadership and staff. We've encouraged a culture of continuous feedback and have incorporated feedback quickly, adjusting our style and approach to best suit the needs of Calwin counties. This slide also shows some additional feedback from Santa Cruz and Solano counties, emphasizing how the BPR team has partnered with them and taken seemingly complicated and daunting tasks of documenting how they do business and making it something that each county can understand and derive value from. BPR lays the foundation for Calwin counties to have a clear grasp on their processes, which in many cases have never been documented nor analyzed. Our team is truly energized by our work with the Calwin counties as they look towards this critical evolution, moving from Calwin to CalSAWS. And our BPR team looks to provide rich input to the other threads, including OCM and training. With that, I will hand the floor to our ISS OCM lead, Jarek Huang.
Thank you, Duncan. And good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jarek Huang, and I'm one of the OCM leads on the project. Organizational change management, in conjunction with business process, training, and implementation teams, are to manage the change successfully, transitioning staff to move to new system and new ways of working. To achieve this goal, we are working really closely with counties to gather their input through the process and understand the needs of the end users who are impacted by this change. We're doing these through the OCM POC meetings, which started in April. Each county identified 2 org change management points of contact to participate in sessions that will run through October of this year as we pull together the overall organizational change management plan. Here are some of the topics that you'll see that we're covering through the org change management plan. They include introduction of the overall organizational change management goals, objectives, as well as approach, understanding county profiles and impacted end users. And then also we'll then plan how to engage end users as well as communicate with different impacted end users. Finally, we'll also be discussing later this summer adoption metrics, change dashboards, and also change communications and activities to capture a plan for this transition for staff. With that, I'm going to now transition things over to Renee Carter, our training manager, to talk more about training.
Thanks, Jarek, and good afternoon. My name is Renee Carter, and I'm really excited to be the training lead for Calwin implementation. As we are preparing for CalSAWS training for Calwin counties, we understand that we have this unique opportunity, and it's really based on three main things. First of all, we're starting with a system that's already in production, and speaking from someone who's been involved with training in all of the SAWS projects, we're always trying to keep pace with application development, but in this case, we are way ahead of the game because CalSAWS already exists. But also, it's even more than that. There is a wealth of rich training content that already exists that was described during the C4 migration presentation. We plan to use every bit of that to enhance and build upon for CalWIN training delivery. And then thirdly, because CalWIN counties are undergoing business process reengineering, this gives us an opportunity to deliver more than just functional training. It also helps us to look beyond just CalWIN implementation, but to look at all of this training content that we will have created and what we started with that was previously created, and look at ways that we can build a curriculum that all 58 counties will be able to use in the future way past go live. So I feel like it's a mission and an honor to be able to work on this. But let's talk about our blended training approach just for a moment. As I stated, we're starting with web-based training that's already built, but we're going to build on that by developing instructor-led classroom training that incorporates county-specific business processes. Those are outputs from BPR and OCM, and it gives us an opportunity to tailor training in the classroom for each of the 18 counties. Once staff complete all of their functional WBTs and move on to their classroom training, they will come back into a lab just prior to go live to sharpen their skills, build their confidence, to get ready for go live in the next few days or the next day, depending on how they're scheduled. And then overlaying this whole thing are what we call learning journey maps, and it's kind of the glue that holds everything together. It's individual based. It's very innovative. It has some gaming techniques in it. It's designed to keep people engaged throughout the training or learning process, all the way through and even past go live. So if we go to the next slide, this is such an important and exciting thing for me to really be able to capitalize on the handoffs from BPR to OCM and then on to training. I know that we've always tried to do that in the past with other projects, but we are looking for really creative and innovative ways to do this thoroughly and to really make it stick. And I won't go through this slide in detail, but it's something for you to take away and read through. But I think it's exciting and will lend itself to a great future for CalSAWS training and curriculum. We have a lot to accomplish over the next year and prep for Wave 1 training delivery about a year from now, and we're going to be very excited to show you some of the results of our efforts. Our team is onboarding now. We're starting development as early as 2 weeks from now. So thank you so much, and I'll hand it back to Michael.
Okay, thank you very much for the presentation. So any questions or comments from our board members or our state partners? Okay, hearing none. Any public comment on this presentation item? Okay, hearing none. John, so that brings us to the procurement update.
We're up to procurement, yay! So we're gonna get this started with Tom, and he's gonna give us a year in review and some of the most up-to-date procurement topics. Tom?
Thanks, June. Next slide. So we conducted 3 successful procurements, Benefits Cal, Calwin Implementation Support, and Central Print Services, and those are all moving along briskly. All of the contracts were within their respective IAPDU budgets or under. We awarded Benefits Cal to Deloitte, just seems like yesterday, April 22nd of 2020, and they began work actually a little bit before August of 2020. And you've heard all of the great updates on that. You've heard the Calwin implementation support updates, as well as Central Print, all moving along just nicely. Next. But it was a busy year in procurement. So our next things are up and coming are the CalSOS M&O procurement. We did go out for an RFI. We got 6 responses from various vendors, some very interesting items in those responses. We did some analysis of them and are conducting some follow-up internal kind of informal discussions with them to make sure we fully understand what they were trying to get at. We also established a M&O procurement advisory work group that has board members, PSC members, CWDA, and state representation on it. And they have met once. We'll meet again this coming July. And we are conducting internal briefings and starting to develop requirements. And these are fairly high level scheduled. Betty Zippis is currently working diligently on a new work plan that takes into account the contention for staff as well as some other resources to get those requirements drafted. And then Holly already updated us on the SOC 2 procurement, and the contract approval was earlier today, so we'll start on that. Procurement advisory work group, the charter summary. We wanted to get input from both the procurement and legal team, so we have David Tyra involved in all of these meetings to ensure excellent communication on the procurement and the process and the visibility. The details of the membership are outlined here. And as I said, David Tyra attends each of the meetings. They are not Brown Act meetings, since it's not a constituted under the board regularly held meeting. So it's kind of as needed, and it will be active until we release the RFP. So, and the reason for that is so that each of the members can participate in any approvals, appeals, etc., that might arise from the bidding and evaluation. That is it. Michael?
Okay, great. Well, procurements are an important part of the project, and we're never going to be done with them.
Exactly.
Well, thank you, Tom. I believe, John, that brings us to a break for everyone.
Yeah, I know we're running just a couple minutes behind, and I think we can reconvene right at 3 o'clock directly. And I think we'll still be able to probably wrap things up by 4:30-ish. So if everybody would reconvene at 3 o'clock sharp, we'll get going.
Okay, 3 o'clock, folks. Thanks.